Sports. This is the Sports Authority.
Well, the youth movement has been the story of the summer for the Reds, and it continued today as Cincinnati called up its #1 prospect and the #21 prospect in all of baseball, Noelvi Marte. Now, you may be familiar with this name as he was the headliner in the return package from the Seattle Mariners for Luis Castillo at last year's trade deadline and played in the All-Star Futures game just last month. Marte flew in early this morning from AAA Louisville, so he wasn't in the lineup today. We go to the bottom of the fourth, already down 3-0. TJ Friedl sends this one out to right field. Would be his 11th homer of the year, making this one 3-1. Now staying in the bottom of the fourth, Elly De La Cruz up to the plate. Usually when he's up, he does magical things, and it was no shortage of that this time. This one looked gone, off the wall. Matt McLean scores with these. Elly in the third ease, but throwing error from right field, another Little League home run. Deja vu from last week with Stuart Fairchild. This one will tie it 3-3. Fast forwarding all the way down to the ninth, down 4-3 now. Here comes Noelvi Marte, pinch running in his MLB debut for Joey Votto, and he would get into third with a steal. This one would go to review. Call stands, although the Reds lose 4-3, could not get Marte home. Taking a look at the NL Central standings now, the Reds still sit behind Milwaukee. The Brewers beat the Rangers 6-1 earlier today, going for the sweep tomorrow in Texas. They're tied with Chicago after they beat the Royals earlier today, but the Reds hold the tiebreaker over the Cubs head-to-head currently, leading the season series 5-4 with 38 games to go this year. Moving over to the NL wildcard race now, the Reds still holding strong in that final wildcard spot in a three-way tie. And we already mentioned the Cubs, but the Marlins lost to the Dodgers 3-1 earlier today. Doubleheader Game 2 happening now. Giants have a tough stretch on the schedule coming up as they face Atlanta this weekend, which could put that 5th seed into play. And lastly, the Diamondbacks trying to fight back into that picture with a win over the Padres today, playing doubleheader Game 2 currently. The Bengals hit the road for preseason Week 2 last night in Atlanta. Now, we're still a few weeks out from Week 1 in Cleveland. However, defensive starters did play, but the offensive backups were stagnant once again. Only one offensive touchdown scored all of preseason, which led to this game ending in a 13-13 tie. Now, with overtime eliminated in the NFL preseason, this could become more common. However, this is a rare occurrence for the Bengals. It's only happened 3 times before. You have to go back 52 years ago to see it. All these were against NFC teams, Packers, Commanders, Falcons, and all the Bengals NFC ties came in the regular season as well, 4 in the last 15 years. Some connections there. FC Cincinnati back in action tomorrow night for what feels like the first time in a while because, well, it's been a minute since they've taken the pitch. With the Orange and Blues' early exit in the Leagues Cup came a nice break right before MLS play resuming tomorrow with the Hellas Real Derby in Columbus. And with that, head coach Pat Noonan enjoyed the mini break and is happy to see his guys refreshed.
I think it came at a good time where, post Nashville, we could have everybody just get away for a little bit and come back where you still have a week of preparation where smaller numbers. I thought the intensity was good. The way the guys returned was better than it typically has been on a longer break. And then I really like what I've seen from, off of the 2 days break, the lead into to this game. So I think guys are in a good place.
Western and Southern Open up in Mason is drawing to a close this weekend, and their star-studded names still left all over the board. While there's uncertainty about whether the event will be taking place in Cincinnati next year or not, the best names in tennis have still put on a show. The American Coco Gauff has taken the sports world by storm at such a young age and in one of the best matches of the year. She upset world #1 Iga Swiatek, which sets her up for her first WTA 1000 final tomorrow afternoon in Mason. Gauff has now reached a singles final at the WTA 1000 level and at the Grand Slam level at just 19 years old. Very special talent. Carlos Alcaraz might be the hottest name in tennis after coming off a singles title at Wimbledon last month. Looking for his 5th Masters final, Alcaraz was down early but battled all the way back to reach that aforementioned 5th career Masters final. Sets up a highly anticipated Wimbledon's final rematch against Novak Djokovic, who just won in 2 sets to clinch his spot in the final. Dre Kirkpatrick, the 2012 Bengals first-round cornerback, played in the NFL as recently as 2021 with the San Francisco 49ers, but his son, Dre Kirkpatrick Jr., committed to play football next year at his dad's alma mater, the University of Alabama. Well, at this point in this wild season, it seems like we see something new in every Reds win, and tonight was no different. As you guessed it, Elly De La Cruz did something no Red has done since 1919, en route to a victory over the NL Central rival Milwaukee Brewers. Willie Adames got scoring started early with a homer, but in the top of the third, Will Benson continues his hot summer so far with a shot to the right field bullpen as Will Benson tied it for the Reds 1-1. However, the Brewers responded right away in the bottom of the third as Willie Adames shot to left field. He has owned the Reds in his career, 42 hits and 37 career games against Cincinnati. But the Reds, they'd fight back immediately. It's the top of the fourth. Who else but Joseph Daniel Votto to the plate. 2 runners on to the right field upper deck. That's Votto's 15th hit of the year and 7th homer. Got his average up to 269 on the season. But the 7th was where the madness would start. Elly De La Cruz pokes a single out to left. That would give the Reds the go-ahead one, but what would ensue next would be history as Elly De La Cruz, typical stolen base for him, right? But what would happen next is where it really got crazy. Steals third, trotting off as he normally would, but what is the pitcher doing? He's clearly not paying attention as Elly darts for home. There he goes, throw past the catcher as the Reds would go up 7-5. They would win this one 8-5 as Elly De La Cruz is the first Red to steal 3 stolen bases in an inning since 1919 as the Reds grab a 2-game lead over the Brewers in the NL Central with 1 game to play before the All-Star break. And while today's game included offensive contributions from everyone, third base coach J.R. House was impressed with the man himself, Elly De La stolen base.
It's the first time I've ever been around someone that I'm going to give him a high five. You know, they stole third base, like, nice job, you know, and he wanted no part of it. And I didn't really understand what was going on. He just kind of kept creeping towards home plate and eyeballing the third baseman and the catcher and the pitcher and then gone. It's just really impressive. When he slid into third, like, the play wasn't over for him. He knew it, like, he was watching it, he was seeking it, he was hunting it, and I got to watch it. It was great.
The youth movement in Cincinnati has been the big story of this season, and while Noel Marte hasn't been able to get in on the fun yet in Cincinnati, Ohio, he's able to shine in Seattle tonight as he's representing the Reds in the All-Star Futures game. He starts at third base tonight and bats fifth, having already stolen a base and scored a run after reaching on a fielder's choice. Moving from the diamond to the pitch, the orange and blue of FC Cincinnati are back in action tonight in Charlotte. And they fought back as they've tied it 2-2 in the second half to Charlotte FC after being down 2-0 at the half. FC Cincinnati has not won a game since a June 21st bout against Toronto FC as they're looking for the go-ahead third goal in the second half. While FC Cincinnati take on Charlotte tonight, Brandon Vasquez and Matt Miazga are in Cincinnati and we're at the Mercy Health Training Center with the U.S. men's national team. This is the first chance for both Vasquez and Miazga to play for the U.S. in their home stadium, something neither is taking for granted.
It's going to be an incredible experience. Fans at FCC in Cincinnati at TQL Stadium are second to none. So I'm super excited to be able to represent the United States at TQL Stadium in my home. So it's a super exciting moment. Obviously, I've wanted to represent this country for my whole career. So to be able to do it at home, it takes emotions to a next level.
Continuing with USA Soccer, Cincinnati natives Rose Lavelle and Aubrey Kingsbury will be in action tomorrow for the U.S. women's against Wales as a tune-up for the Women's World Cup as the United States seek their 5th title. FC Cincinnati's back in action tonight after an 11-day break. However, it doesn't come without some missing faces. They'll be missing some guys due to international break, suspensions, and injuries. Fortunately for FC Cincinnati, Toronto FC is facing some similar problems tonight. Head coach Pat Noonan knows his guys will be ready to rise to the occasion. The wait is finally over after a long 9-month layoff. High school football is back in the tri-state area. We're here at Purcell Marion High School tonight, where Deer Park and Purcell Marion will face off here at the newly renovated Roger Staubach Stadium. The stadium was funded mostly in part to a $200,000 donation from the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll have more highlights from this game at 11. The Bengals are back at practice today for their final practice before Friday's preseason matchup at the Atlanta Falcons. Of note today, Joe Burrow still not back at practice. Fingers crossed, waiting on that. T. Higgins was also wearing a leg sleeve, which comes after his little injury scare during Monday's practice. Miles Murphy also wasn't out there, and the QB2 battle continued between Trevor Siemian and Jake Browning. Now, before today's practice, Zach Taylor did not speak with the regular media contingency, but instead went on the Pat McAfee show for an appearance. He told Pat and the crew that he's really proud of the progress that this offensive line has made since he started here 4 years ago, citing the culture change.